Okay, so here we are again. Now, a couple of things. I've trimmed out the front section here to open up the front of the barrel frame, I don't know, what do you call it, so that it looks a little bit more like the screen used. Sort of come to the thought of, like, it's never going to look 100% like a screen used one, so I'm going to do some modifications to make it look more screen accurate, but I'm not going to go overboard and be too anally pedantic about it, because it's never going to look 100% screen accurate, purely because of the width of the mag well and what have you. So some things you just can't change or can't fix. Got a file off a guy on the internet. I can't remember his name, I'll mention it later, but for a new mag base that's more like the screen used one, so I'm going to print up one of those shortly. He also has a file for a charge handle for the Thompson section to attach to the charge handle to make it stick out a little bit more, look a little bit more like a real charge handle. I've done the trigger cut, so basically you trace out your trigger cage and then Dremel it out so that you're left with the thin looking trigger, like what a real trigger looks like. Painted up the rev trigger, which sits in the back here. Now, because we don't have that lock in place anymore and what have you, I'm actually gonna replace all the wiring for the flywheels, put in a little micro switch direct from the LiPo through the switch to the flywheels, so that they rev up like instantly and get maximum RPMs through maximum current. Just pulled the flywheel cage out, and on the back there's a little circuit board which we'll have to remove, and then we're going to change these motors out. They're 130 size motors, so you can get replacements for them. As I mentioned, I've got some little fangs revamped, which are these jiggers here. They are neodymium magnets, so the things are like super strong, so they have heaps of torque, so they'll grip a dart and throw it like a bad boy. But they also have like twice to 3 times the RPMs of a standard motor as well, so they'll fire a dart much quicker. So if your standard's firing 50 feet per second, these are going to get like 100 plus feet per second, so at least double your output. The other thing is the actual flywheels themselves. These are just a basic smooth flywheel. They don't grip the darts terribly well until they've built up a layer on them, but as you can see, there's a bit of a layer there, but it wipes off pretty easily. So yeah, not ideal. So we're probably going to replace those with, I've got some worker black wheels. Now these are serrated, so they have they grip the dart much better, and they're a slightly larger diameter, so they put a little bit more crush on the dart. What crush does is it causes, as the rubber head sort of goes through it, it causes a compression and then a release, which adds to the velocity of the dart, so you get a little bit better FPS with a little bit higher crush. Obviously, like anything, there's limits to that, like where it becomes too much. But these, I'm hoping, will be a good compromise, and I'm hoping that they will fit into the flywheel cage without too much modification. The other thing is the pusher mechanism. Very basic way of quietening it down a little bit. A little bit of lithium grease. So I've just put some lithium grease in there, and A, it preserves and what have you the movement of the actual mechanism, and B, it quietens it down a little bit so it's not as loud. Let me see if I can give you a quick demo. Okay, so now you can hear the 3D printer running in the background as well, but let's see if we can get this to work. So it doesn't seem quite as loud now that it's got some grease in there, so it does seem to slow it down a little bit, but I'm assuming it'll work itself out as we go. I've started pulling the wiring out because I'm going to, as I said, replace the rev switch and I have pushed the motors out. So basically you just take the flywheels off, I lever them off with a flat blade screwdriver, then push on the top of each of these stalks just with something thick, like I just used the handle of a shifter. Push each one down a little bit and sort of work them out gently together so that it comes out as one complete thing. Now we'll have to desolder these wires, the positive and negative wires, and I have push fitted the fangs revamped into the flywheel cage, so they're in there ready to go. As I said, we're going to replace these old white flywheels with some worker serrated wheels, so you can see that these have got a slightly larger diameter. Hang on, let me try and see if I can purse these together. Can you see that? Oh, God, nothing's ever easy with this stuff, is it? Like, okay, so if that's going to focus, I don't know, just focus with it. So yeah, they do have a slightly larger diameter, but there is a little bit of a convex to them, so it is still slightly larger, so they're still going to give a bit better crush on the darts. It looks like they'll just fit. Maybe I may need to do a little bit of modification to the flywheel cage, maybe on this little edge here, but hopefully they will just fit. I'll try that in a minute and we'll come back and have a look and see if they're going to fit all right. And then we'll go about replacing the wiring, wiring up directly from the battery feed. So I'll go before the buck, so we're getting the power direct from the battery straight through the switch to the flywheels, so the flywheels get maximum RPM and current, etc. All right, so bear with us, we'll go about doing all that and we will come back shortly. The other thing I've got to figure out is how I'm going to do this muzzle flash mod, because I need to try and find some way of switching it as it pushes a dart. So I was hoping to piggyback off this switch, but I don't know if that's going to work for me, so I may have to, and there's not a lot of room to put in another switch, so I'll have to work something out. Even if maybe I keep the original power supply for those motors, run it through a flasher circuit to an LED. I don't know. I'll have a look, I'll try and work something out, and I'll be back. Alright, so it was a bit of mucking around, but managed to get the worker black wheels in there with the fangs revamped motors, and they're sitting in place and seem to be clearing all right. I did have to Dremel out these receiver holes at the back here larger to accommodate for the posts on the motors, but that was no big deal. Just Dremel them out a little bit larger and then just bend the posts over so that they sit flushish with the shell, so there should be enough room to accommodate them anyway. So yeah, so run the wiring back. This thing's going to be a real compromise between performance and cosmetics and what have you, so I'm not getting overly pedantic or concerned about one particular thing over the other. I've used a fine wiring to wire up the motors. Not ideal, but it's a fairly heavy copper core in it, so I'm hoping that it's still carrying enough current. The motors spin up like crazy, like, my God, you should hear the damn things. Insane. So now I've just got to wire them back to the switch and then back to the main power supply, and that will basically be the runnings of the thing done, apart from the muzzle flash, which I'll have to try and work out how I'm going to do that. Still eluding me at the moment, but I will work something out, so bear with us, and we'll be back with a little bit more.